Hi, I'm Ben.
And I'm Ernie.
And this is Budget Nerds.
It was all in your mind.
You are not alone.
No, you are not. And today we're going to have a lot of fun because we're going to get real detailed into my budget and Ernie's budget. And we're going to talk about goals and how we have them set up. And maybe you'll get some ideas from the way we have things set up.
So big picture, let's talk about the specific types of goals that we have. Actually, let's start even a little bit broader than that. I mean, goals, that's the whole way that YNABers plan, right? That's how we plan for the monthly expenses, our expected needs each month. So the three types of goals are the needed for spending goal, and then there's the target savings balance goal, and then finally the monthly savings builder. So that needed for spending goal, with that goal type, you're funding an amount with the ability to spend from it. So I always liken this one to groceries, right? You budget $100 every week, and then you spend those dollars at the grocery store that week. The target savings balance, you're funding an amount, and then you're maintaining that balance. So this is great for something like an emergency fund. You're setting aside $100 every single month, trying to get to $1,000. Something happens, you spend $200. Well, YNAB's going to prompt you to fill that $200 back up, to keep you on pace to getting to that $1,000, right?
It's also good for like big goal. Like I want to save up for, like I have a new roof category, for example. Like you have like a big goal that's like in the future you want to save up for, and you're not planning on spending along the way as you're saving. That's a perfect goal for that.
Yep. And then the third one is that monthly savings builder. That's just, hey, I want to contribute X amount of dollars to this category every single month. And I want to do that until the end of time or until I decide to delete this goal.
Yeah. And that one doesn't take into account your spending at all. It's just real simple. I want to put up this amount to the category every month, no matter what. Real simple.
Yep. So that's the boring stuff. We'll get that out of the way. All you guys, you probably already know that, right? So now let's dig into how we use those goals and kind of the breakdown of those goals in our own budget. So you can start, Ben.
Okay. Well, I now have, and this is pretty crazy because I'm looking at our notes here, and Ernie, we have the exact same number of categories, which is pretty crazy.
We do?
I have 55 total categories, and I see you have 55 total categories as well.
Wow. I feel like when we did that category episode a while ago, that gap there was a gap, and it was pretty wide. Well,
I think you've gotten less, and I've gotten more because I just got a dog, and I have 6 categories just for her, which is kind of sad because I have like 2 categories for my kids. But
I think we did that episode in 2020, and since like my fresh start on January 1st. I've slimmed back on some categories, so makes sense. All right,
and I've added a bunch. So I just thought that was kind of cool. We have the same number of categories, and you'll be happy to know this, Ernie. I have started using scheduled transactions. Yes, wow, I did it. Back. I love it. It's great. I think we talked about this a little bit, but back in 2020 as well, I remember you mentioned that you schedule transactions a lot, and I said I don't use them, and you were mortified.
Are you a budget nerd?
I've used them a lot. I now have 25 scheduled transactions.
Whoa!
Yeah, so I got a bunch of recurring bills on that, like transfers to investment accounts, and I really love it because it just makes things a lot faster, a lot easier.
Now, scheduled transactions, it's not a goal type, but you're mentioning that because they function like a goal.
Yeah, like if you don't have a goal in a category, but you do have a scheduled transaction to a category, YNAB will prompt you to budget for that scheduled transaction. And so it really functions like a goal in a lot like a needed for spending goal, really.
Yep, and then it eases that transaction entry side of things as well.
Yeah, that's what I really love it for. Because you know me, we should probably link to our old budget breakdown kind of thing that we did back in last October or something like that, because I like to combine a lot of categories, and I have one category for all of my fixed bills. So if the bill is the same every month and it's monthly, it's all in one category. So most of those recurring scheduled transactions go into one category, right? So it's pretty simple.
Yep. So
now let's break down all of my different goal types. So by far the most often used goal type is the monthly savings builder. I have 43 of my 55 total categories have a monthly savings builder goal on it. And I don't know why. I think it's simple, it's just like real easy, and it's, I know what I want to budget, and I just tell YNAB what I intend to budget, Well,
that's the goal type that I use the most as well. And I was thinking about this too. It might be because we're old school YNABers.
I think
right?
So, yeah.
And, the goal types have evolved over the years. And there was right there at the beginning of, with YNAB, where I think pretty much the most popular goal type was that monthly savings builder. And that was the goal type you used to create that budget template. And so, that was the only goal type that I used back in the day. And it just kind of made sense to carry that over even when we did introduce new goals.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, there were 3 goal types, but there really were only 2. There was a monthly funding goal, is what it used to be called back in the day. It was back in 2016, up until maybe like 2019 or so. And that was basically the same thing as a monthly savings builder. You just said, I want to budget this amount no matter what, right? And then there was also a target category balance goal. And you could also have a date. So there's a target category balance and there's a target category by date goal. And those are analogous to the target savings balance that we have today. So back in the day, there weren't any goals that considered your spending at all, which caused a lot of problems, which is why we changed it, So, and so I think what it is, it's like back in the day, I just use those monthly funding goals for almost everything. And then when the new goal types rolled around, all those monthly funding goals were converted into a monthly savings builder goal, and I just kind of kept it. I haven't really changed it.
Well, honestly, the only reason I have other goal types mixed in is because I'm a teacher. I'm teaching this stuff, and I want to experiment with it just so I know how it operates out in the wild. So,
well, what's funny is as I was going through my budget and just tracking all this, I realized the only places where I really use the new goal types, the needed for spending goal types, is for new categories. So if I had a new category that I didn't have from back in the day, I'll often use the new goals. So I'm thinking about, I've been talking about this for a long time. I don't know if I'll ever do it, but I'm thinking about just totally swiping the slate clean and just doing a new budget. Because I've had the same budget file for a long time. And it might be nice to rethink things. And I think if I did, I would use more of those newer goal types, So
they really are slick. And a lot of them, they do the math for you too. You're not like, okay, divided that by 12. Here's my monthly amount.
Right. Yeah. Because that's what we had to do back in the day. I keep saying back in the day, but
it was like 2 years ago.
Back in my day, we didn't have all these fancy goals. Oh man, but so 43 monthly savings builder goals. That's by far the vast majority. I know and I think part of it too is when you have a lot of experience budgeting, you've been doing it for a long time, you get into a group where, okay, how much you need to budget for car maintenance or, things like that. And so you just get a really good idea. So instead of letting YNAB do the calculation for me, I just tell it, hey, this is what I want. Okay. And so I just put in the monthly savings builder goal. But I do have some needed for spending goals. I have 4 total. I got 2 by date goals, or no, 3 actually. One's for car insurance, which is really nice because that's not a yearly thing. It's like a every 6 months thing. So it's nice just to say, hey, I got to spend this amount every 6 months and set that repeat, because that's something that's fairly new, is having a repeating goal. and it just keeps right on going. Christmas, I also have as a by date goal. That works really well. And then, yeah, actually, no, that's right. Yeah, it was just the two. I typed car insurance twice on my notes here. So yeah, it was just the two that have the by date. And then I also do a monthly goal on a monthly needed for spending goal for my dog Bessie's food, and this is really, really helpful.
So this is one of those new 6 categories for the dog.
Yeah, so it's a new category, so I used a new goal, right? And it's really nice because I have a Great Dane, Bessie. She's the best, and she is growing so fast because she's a Great Dane puppy, right? And we got her back in mid-March, and she came home and she was 11 pounds. And now we're recording very beginning of June here, and she is 45 pounds. So it's going fast. And so what I did there was I kind of figured out, okay, this is how much food we're going to need when she's full grown. And I budget that amount, but I don't need to spend that much because I don't have to buy as much food because she's a puppy right now.
Yep.
And so what's really nice about the needed for spending monthly goal is anything that rolls over to the next month counts toward the goal. So what I'm doing is I'm just saying, I don't want to have to do this calculation every single month. Like, okay, well, she's grown this much now, so we're going to feed her a little bit more. So I'm going to have to budget a little more. I just want to say, I'm just going to budget for like as if she's an adult. And then YNAB does the calculation for me because it knows how much I spent last month.
Right.
It's really nice.
That's slick.
Yeah. And that's why maybe I should use these newfangled goals more often because it is pretty nice.
These slick new budgets. Cool kids have these days.
We should start over and maybe do that. Oh man. And then I have 2 categories that have a target savings balance goal. Just 2. One is a new roof. That's not till 2025. So we're saving like $10,000 to put a new roof on the house. And that's a really good example where it's like one goal, you're going to spend the money all at once at the end of your savings time. And it's not for way into the future, right? So that's a really good example. And then I'm saving up for some family pictures next year. I just use the target savings balance for that as well. So, and then I do have 6 goals that have 6 categories that have no goals on them. I have 2 holding categories that I use all the time. I've talked about this before. I have a BMI category, which is budget meeting items. So if there's weird, like extra money, like maybe, grandma sends a check to buy the kids a birthday present, that kind of thing.
I'll put it in the grandma.
Yeah, it's a perfect example, right? Like weird things like that. I'll just put that money, I'll just park it in that holding category, budget meeting items, anything I need to talk to my wife about, because we don't want to have a conversation about it every single time. We'll just talk about it all at once in our budget meeting that we do every month. So that doesn't need a goal because it's just a holding category, right? And I also have a couple other holding categories as well, like my prudent reserve, which is what I call my emergency fund. I'm not funding that anymore. I've got it to where I want it. And so I don't have a goal on that. I just let it be where it is.
Okay.
And then I also have, I have a nanny that helps take care of our kids, and we have to withhold taxes for her. And so I have a category for her taxes that I have to pay every quarter. So that's that. So anything that's like a holding category where you're not funding it regularly, but you need to have some money hanging out there, doesn't need a goal. So that's perfect. And then the only other two categories that don't have a goal on it is my mortgage category, because I just rely on the scheduled transaction for that. Easy. And then I have this is a category where maybe I'm not following rule 2. I have an appliances category. So it's just like if appliances break that need to be replaced. And I don't know, something about it, I just can't be bothered to fund it. Like I just don't want to. And it's come back to bite me. Like I had to replace my dishwasher recently, and I didn't have any money in the appliances category, and it would have been nice. But I don't know. It's something about it. I should probably put a goal in it, but I just don't have one. So
you know what you need to do is you need to hear some horror stories from other YNABers or maybe from some coworkers about appliances going bad, going out of their house, and
that'll motivate me to
prepared,
get
right?
going. Yeah. There's stuff like that all the time, you know, over the years budgeting, like where you kind of have to admit yourself, this is a rule 2 expense that I've kind of been ignoring because I don't want to deal with it. And for me, appliances is probably one of those. So
for me, it was ink. I've talked about that.
Oh yeah, talked about that. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, that's understandable because that's just a racket. The printer ink is. I mean, I'll die on this hill. Printer ink is it's a great injustice in our culture. It's not a big deal.
Oh, man.
It's too expensive. All right.
Okay. Well, let's just keep going down this rabbit trail a little bit here. I want to update everyone. We have updated our printer. My wife bought a new printer because we do so much printing. We've been homeschooling the boys, so printing out all of this curriculum. So we needed to get a high quality printer that doesn't use a carton of ink every single day. So
so you got that fancy. I know the kind of printer you're talking about. I don't remember what it's called, but where it uses ink differently. Yeah,
I don't know. It does somehow. It's an Epson. It uses ink differently. Like you pour it into the computer, you see these levels, and it's supposed to last.
Stinking things you have to pop in there. Yeah.
I don't know.
You got the good stuff.
We've had it for a couple months, and I haven't had to buy ink, so I'm happy.
All right. Well, next Budget Nerds, we'll talk about when you do have to buy ink and how angry you are.
Maybe it will all come together. Your appliances go all at the same time, and I have to buy ink.
There's always something. All right. I want to hear your breakdown, Ernie.
Okay. Excellent. So, yes, just like you, I have 55 categories. And that's interesting because I just got rid of a category. In the spring cleaning episode, I mentioned consolidating and closing some of my credit cards. And I did that. I finally got on the phone and canceled one of my credit cards. It felt so good. And it was such a pain. They kept me on the line forever trying to just hang on to me as a customer. And I'm a 9 on the Enneagram. I don't like conflict. I'm a super just nice Midwest guy. And so, of course, I'm going to listen to them through that whole spiel. But it was annoying.
I bet.
But I got down to 55 categories. Okay, so now we match. Now, with those 55, I love scheduled transactions, but I only have 8.
I was shocked to see that. I was like, you were all mad at me because I didn't have scheduled transactions, and I have 3 times as many as you do.
Okay.
That's all right. I mean, whatever works for you is cool.
Okay, so 8 scheduled transactions. I have 5 needed for spending. One of those is weekly, and that's for groceries. One is monthly, our eating out category, and then 3 by date. Christmas, newspaper, and then life insurance.
Cool.
And the life insurance one, that's every 6 months. And again, that's more of just an experiment. Otherwise, I would just use the monthly savings builder. I would get that monthly amount, do the math in my head. But I want to know what, the cool hip YNABers are doing. So I'm experimenting with my date.
There are all sorts of things that we use just because we teach the stuff and we need to know it, right? So
I don't have any target savings balance goals right now. And I think that's because we just have one category that kind of has like our unknown savings dollars there. So, we just don't have jobs for those specific savings dollars. There's nothing really in mind that we're saving for right now. And so don't have a target savings balance. And then the monthly savings builder, the big one, I have 30 of those. I have 7 categories that don't have a goal. One of those is a holding category for monthly income. I then, just release that at the end of the month and use it to budget for the next month. But then on a couple of those categories, the gas and the household category, I don't have goals on those because they fluctuate so much. I find I've been using the average spent number. So
Okay.
over there on the right in the inspector, and I've just been going with that. And that's kind of helped me dial in on a budget
That's
amount each
interesting.
month.
Yeah, that's interesting because I looked at that number all the time to kind of determine whether or not my goal amount is where it really should be.
Sure.
But you kind of just skip the middleman and say, I don't need a goal amount. I'm just going to use that every time. And so as it fluctuates, you can just look to it and go with that. That's a good idea.
And then my last 5 are on credit cards. And I use the credit card payoff balance by date goal. So I am a pay in full user, but I use this goal type. And this is a tip that I got from the support team. What I do with that payoff balance by date is I set a date super far in the future. So I think it's like November of 2050. Okay. And so it's looking at my credit card balance, and anytime that payment amount does not match my balance, the category turns yellow. And so it's just a nice tip. It's a really quick visual for me. I open up the budget, and if I see green, I know I'm good to go. If I see yellow, then something is going on, and it's probably an overspent category.
That's really clever. Yeah. Because that goal type is intended to be used for people who are carrying a balance on their card and are trying to pay that off over time.
Yeah.
But you use it as kind of just a warning sign that, hey, something's off. Maybe you got a return that you didn't, get in the budget right. And you know that you need to check it out. That's really clever.
Yeah. So I like that. And, you do have that overspent banner to notify you of overspent categories, but still, I've just always gotten in the routine of checking the credit card payment category number against the balance. And now I have that visual, either it's green or yellow, and it just makes the process a lot quicker for me. So I find that pretty slick.
And one day in 2050, your whole budget's just going to break, and you're going to be like, "What's going on? Oh, I got to change it to 2100." Or
I'm going to have to work that into my, yearly goal review session or something like that.
You're going to be sitting here. What would you be in your what's math? Math, you'd be in your 60s then, I guess.
Oh my goodness. I would be in my 70s, Ben.
Oh no.
70s.
Oh dear. So, and I'm sure you'll still be budgeting even in your 70s.
I'll still be budgeting, but I don't think I'll be doing budget nerds.
I'm sad to say probably not. Maybe if maybe whoever takes up the mantle when we retire and when we get old, maybe they could have us on as a guest in 2050.
Can we get you off the golf course for a few hours, Ben? Can we take you from, I don't know, what stage you're performing on, right?
All right. Back in my day, we didn't have all these fancy goals.
Why are you guys so crabby? Oh man.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Cool. Well, is that all you wanted to talk about and about your budget?
That's a wrap. Yeah, that's my breakdown of goals on the categories.
All right. Well, until 2050, we'll keep doing this. And we'll be back every so often, maybe a little sooner than that. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's been fun chatting with y'all. I want to hear what types of goals you guys use, and let us know. Or if you're newer at YNAB, do you use the newer goals, or maybe if you're old farts like us, maybe use the old goals a little more. Yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys do. So let us know in the comments.
See you later.
Bye, everybody.